Previously on Gears.
Yeah, and a man who's just jet setted into South Africa, who's got the most impressive, must be the most impressive business card I've ever seen. Not that I've seen the business card yet, but I don't know how you fit in Gasoline Powertrain Development Manager Europe all on one card, Andrew Fraser.
It is difficult, yes. I need a very, very small font.
Yes.
It goes with the small engines, you see. As we make the engine smaller, we make the font of the business card smaller.
Well, this is what we're all talking about. It's great to have you here. I mean, Ford, over so many decades, has just been known for big power engines, you know, United States specifically.
Yeah.
But as the world has changed, specifically Europe, Ford Europe has developed a multitude of engines over the year. And now you've got this, what I called a little bit earlier, I think this incredibly cute 1 liter EcoBoost engine. Now, before we go into the 1 liter, what is EcoBoost? What is this EcoBoost that Ford has come up with?
EcoBoost is a set of technologies which we've now applied to 4 different engines. It did actually start in the US, surprisingly enough. Back in 2009, they put a V6 engine in the big F-Series truck for the first time. And that was really the hallowed ground of the US. If you had an F-Series, it was always a V8 or even a V10 if you went for the big one. So they were not convinced that the American customers would buy into shrinking their engines, taking less cylinders but having turbocharging instead. But around 50% of customers have now gone for that option in the F-Series because they like the performance, the great refinement, and the fuel economy that it brings. And that process, so EcoBoost is a set of technologies. It's turbocharging, smaller engines. We use direct fuel injection into the cylinders rather than indirect in the ports, and variable camshaft timing to really optimize the performance of the engine. So that set of technologies now been on the 3.5 V6, which was first rolled out in the US. And then my team in Europe have been leading the 2 liter, which is in the Focus ST. Yeah. The 1.6, and now our new little baby, the 1 liter 3-cylinder.
Now, the amazing thing is, if you go from the 3.6 to all the way down or whatever, by going with this technology, it definitely lightens the engine as well in terms of weight.
Absolutely. That's one of the key features. Ford is very much an enthusiast brand. We like handling. As any performance enthusiast knows, the lighter you make your car, the faster it is, the less fuel it uses, and then the better the handling is. You've got less mass over the front wheels. And you can really feel that, particularly with the 1 liter. It takes a lot of weight at the front of the car, and you think, oh yeah, the handling is really, really nimble. So you get into what we call a sort of virtuous spiral now. You make the car a bit lighter, you can have slightly smaller tyres, smaller brakes, and everything starts to move in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, it's a incredible progress forward because the world has changed, and I mean, America maybe is just a little bit behind in sort of saying, listen, we need 1.2 1 liter engines, those kind of things. I think it's still got a long way for the States to do that, but Europe has embraced a smaller engine, and this little, I mean, it's a 1 liter engine turbocharged, but the power that it produces is phenomenal.
Yeah, we're giving customers a choice. We still have the traditional 1.6 4-cylinder engine. I apologise, I was talking horsepower, so 125 horsepower rather than kilowatts.
Yeah.
And the 1 litre matches it for horsepower, 125, but gives far more torque, which is actually what you feel when you drive the most. So 200 newton meters of torque. We used to have a 2 litre sports Fiesta in Europe, the 2 litre ST. That had 190 newton meters. Our little 1 litre actually beats that. It's putting out 200 newton meters peak. So, and people, I think, in the electronic age with their smartphones and their computers are getting into the idea that smaller is better. As long as it gives them the performance, it'll run their apps, it's got the battery life they want. And they're saying, oh yeah, I don't need big. Actually, small and efficient is really what I'm looking for.
I mean, I'm just fascinated by how things have changed. You've got these small little engines, 125 horsepower for 1 liter engine, but the torque factor as well. Is it a high revving engine?
It will rev highly.
Okay.
Again, Ford's, we call it rewarding to rev. We want the customer to feel they get a bit of reward if they do run it up through the gears and use that. But we've also aimed to give really strong torque low down in the rev range, so you don't have to rev it if you don't want to. So we're getting peak torque from only 1,400 revs.
Oh, that's brilliant. Right
through to 4,500. So you've got a really wide torque plateau, so you can drive it in a nice, flexible, relaxed manner, which will give you great fuel economy if you want. But if you feel like it, if the mood takes you, the road's clear, yeah, by all means, run it out to 6,000 and you'll get a really nice sporty feel.
I think also, specifically, if I talk where I live in Johannesburg with traffic driving, and I suppose all the major cities of Europe as well, you want something that, you want that low-down torque so that if you are in stop-start traffic, at least you can get going without having to rev, the bugger out of a little 1-litre engine, that's for sure.
Yeah, and that was much our goal. It's not that hard to make a 1-litre engine, but making it perform like a much bigger displacement engine, which is, as you say, is what customers have been used to for 100 years or more now, was really the challenge. And for areas like Johannesburg, where your altitude, you want to maintain that performance even at 1,600 metres. If you have a traditional engine, you're about 15% down on performance at this altitude, whereas with the turbo, it's recovered all of that, so you're really giving away nothing in this environment.
Now, the engine's won a couple of very prestigious awards as well. I mean, it is pretty innovative in its own way.
Yes, thank you. We were very gratified. For the first time, actually, in Ford's history, we won the International Engine of the Year award, which is voted for by journalists from, I think, 75 countries or something around the world.
Brilliant.
And we came out way in front. It was the best overall engine, which was the main one, and the best sub-1 litre and best new engine. And it was quite a privilege. I didn't go to the award ceremony. Someone much more senior than me got to go to that.
with a shorter
much sort of vice
shorter
president
title.
Barb went to collect that, our top lady in Europe. But she said, yeah, because it was awarded in Germany, and it was quite nice standing up in Stuttgart amongst Mercedes and
I can imagine.
and getting the top engine award.
I think, that is just something that's really, really exciting. I think especially coming from a brand like Ford as well. So in South Africa, we're going to get it in the Fiesta.
That's right, yeah.
All right, as a start from there, is there any progression where it's going to go, or is the displacement maybe going to go up just, maybe for the Focus kind of range, or are we going to be looking at this 1-litre engine going for quite a while?
The 1-litre will certainly appear in other products here. It's definitely planned to come out in the new little mini SUV, the EcoSport.
Okay.
Will also launch with the 1-litre. The Fiesta will bring the 1.6 EcoBoost as the ST derivative of the Fiesta, which has got 180 horsepower, 290 newton meters. It's a very quick little car that's being previewed at our dealer event here today.
Yeah.
The Focus ST has the 2-litre EcoBoost, so you will have the whole range.
All with EcoBoost.
In Europe, we put it. The 1-litre now goes in Fiesta. We have the B-Max, which is a little multi-activity vehicle thing. Focus, the C-Max, and from next year even be in the Mondeo. So it's got a very wide rollout. We're putting Fiesta into China, Asian markets.
Brilliant.
Later this year it'll be in North America. So coming back to your earlier point, it will be very interesting to see how the American consumer takes to such a small engine. It really is quite a radical concept for that market.
Yeah. America, you just never know what they're going to do. It all depends on the gas price, I think. But I was at the Ford Motorsport launch the other evening here in Johannesburg, where they launched the new rally car, the off-road, and then, of course, the circuit racing car, the ST. Okay. And it was great to see EcoBoost on the side of it. So I think it's also, I think a lot of people might get attracted to that from watching it on circuit racing and trying to find out a little bit more about this innovation. Yeah,
it's got quite a buzz to it. I think we're seeing the same trend in motorsport. The Formula One even is coming down to a 1.6 direct injection turbo engine from next year. The Ford Rally car has used a 1.6 direct injection turbo, and Formula Ford, the single seat entry-level series, is also actually literally using the 1.6 EcoBoost engine as its primary power source. So even motorsport is moving in this direction, traditionally the home of large displacement multi-cylinder engines. They're all trending that way, and kind of for fun last year we built a Formula Ford road car with the 1-litre in it. It did make quite a lot of publicity. It did a lap of the Nürburgring in 7 minutes 22.
Wow.
It was right up there with the sort of Enzo Ferraris and things like that. It really showed what a little engine could do. And in that car, for a race application, it was making something like 220 horsepower. So a very, very potent little machine, and we had it on our test track at Dunton in England, where we do the development. One of my team, actually, who's got a race license, was putting it through its paces on the big track at Dunton. So yeah, it's got a quite a big heart to it, even though it's got a small badge.
I don't know if it's going to happen in NASCAR yet.
Possibly not. That might be a bit of a stretch. Maybe two of them, or perhaps four, one on each wheel.
Perhaps four, yeah, there we go. Drive each wheel as well. That's brilliant. Well, Andrew, it's great to have you here. I mean, and congratulations, number one, on winning that prestigious award.
Thank you very much.
And the innovation of the 1-litre EcoBoost now in South Africa, fuel efficient, very powerful, low. I mean, the torque range is quite exceptional, and I'm sure it's going to do exceptionally well.
Thank you. Yeah, we hope so. In the Focus, where we launched it first in Europe, so it's a bigger car, it's now taking 30% of Focus sales. So nearly a third of customers have chosen just that one engine. And we have all the other diesels, bigger EcoBoost engines, a whole variety to choose from. And yet customers are attracted by the fuel efficiency. And it's really quiet. It's actually the quietest engine you can buy. It's a very, very refined engine. And it's just great fun to drive, which...
Well, that's what it should be. That's what it's about. Actually, I wanted to ask you something because, diesel, it sort of up until about 4 or 5 years ago, when everyone was trying to save money, more efficient, less cost, etc., diesel was a little bit cheaper and everyone went diesel. But now with these kind of engines, 1 litre, pushing out 125 horsepower, fun to drive as well, it's got the turbo or whatever. Are we seeing a little bit of a shift? I mean, maybe in South Africa, in our bucky market and off-road vehicles and that, diesel might still have a really, really good space. But, I mean, if you were going to buy a car, 1.4 turbo diesel, as opposed to a 1 litre turbo petrol, what would your choice be?
Oh, I'd take the 1 litre turbo. That's what I drive day to day in England.
Yeah.
I have one. It's from the company. And I've literally traded a 1.6 diesel Fiesta now for my 1 litre EcoBoost petrol. And I just love driving it. I do have a Galaxy as well. But, I think... It's a genuine third alternative to customers. They used to only have a two-way choice. It was a traditional petrol engine or a diesel. EcoBoost gives them a genuine third choice. And looking at what's happening with the Focus, it looks like roughly a third of the people are buying into that and saying, okay, it's not quite the fuel economy of diesel. I wouldn't claim that. But it's very good, it's very quiet, and it is fun to drive.
And it doesn't sound like a tractor.
It's generally lower. Yes, quite. My diesel friends would hate that comment.
Well,
the diesels are still not as refined as the petrol engines, no doubt about that.
Of course.
So, I think it's a growing chunk of the market.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Great to have you here. How long are you still here in SA for?
Thank you. I'm actually here through to next Friday. We're going on to Cape Town on Monday. Then there's a Fiesta media event in Cape Town on Wednesday and Thursday, which I'm also lucky enough to take part in, flying back home next Friday. So
you should say fly back to Joburg, come and watch the Focus ST's race on Saturday.
Oh, that would be a nice opportunity. Well, I've probably stretched my family's goodwill. Right? They say, you've got 9 days in the sun-filled South Africa when they're sitting in 0 degrees in London and it's miserable. So
shame, yeah.
I probably wouldn't get away with a second weekend away, sadly.
No, fair enough. Great to have you. Thanks for your time.
Thanks
I know you're
much.
very, very busy. Great to have you in the studio.
Good talking to you.
Weekdays from 12 to 2 p.m. Central African Time.
Beautiful.
Gears with Sasha Martinengo on bulls.co.za.